Hello everyone, I'm Broughy1322 and welcome to another episode of Broughy Explains. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, another episode? What? There was a previous episode of this? Well, yeah, it was quite a while ago that I actually did 3 one-off videos as part of this series, all about the inner workings of YouTube, how YouTube ads worked, how YouTubers made money from YouTube, things like that. If you're at all interested, the link to the playlist will be in the description. You can go straight over and watch those. I will apologize in advance that the camera quality isn't as good as what you're seeing here. It was with my old just a webcam, but I think those were some quite interesting videos. They did get quite a bit of good feedback and people found them useful and helpful, and a lot of interesting information was in there. So it's a series that I've always wanted to bring back in some respect, and I've got a specific idea for a video that I've had for quite a while that will probably be the one after this, and then I want to sort of expand it and talk about more things, maybe some real life stuff, open it up to you guys, maybe gaming in general, get questions from you guys about things, and just have specific videos where I talk in depth and analyze things and explain some things about life or whatever. But I want to sort of start off the rebirth of this series, if you like, with some more YouTube related videos, and particularly in this video talk about multi-channel networks here on YouTube. I'm going to explain what they are, what they do, whether it's worth joining one, what the point of them are, and ultimately give a bit of a personal experience and story about my experiences with multi-channel networks as well. So hopefully it's something that you guys will find interesting, just as part of sort of the inner workings of YouTube. Even if you're not wanting to be a YouTuber yourself, hopefully you'll find this interesting just to see how it all works. So what is a multi-channel network? Well, a multi-channel network is basically an intermediary between YouTube and yourself. So YouTube makes money, and I've talked about this in previous videos of this series, but I'll just sort of give a quick roundup here. YouTube makes money by selling advertisements on videos. So every time you see an advertisement on a video, that money from whoever is advertising goes to YouTube. Now, YouTube give a specific portion of that money to the creator themselves. So they keep some of the advertising revenue and the creator gets the rest. Now, what normally happens is when you first start a YouTube account, you can create an AdSense account. And what that means is that all the money that you make from advertisements on your videos, YouTube pays into that AdSense account. Now, when you are part of an MCN, a multi-channel network, YouTube pays that money directly to the multi-channel network. And it's the multi-channel network who then sends the money on to you. But they don't send you all of your money. Multi-channel networks take a portion for themselves in exchange for the services that they offer you. Now, I will talk all about that further on in this video, but the one thing that I want to say first of all is sort of like a public service announcement and a warning, is that multi-channel networks don't increase your revenue in any way. So the amount of money that YouTube gives to your multi-channel network for the advertising revenue from your videos is exactly the same as the money that they would give you personally if you weren't in a multi-channel network. It was quite common in the past. I don't think it happens as much now, but it was reasonably common in the past that multi-channel networks would claim that they can run better ads on your videos. They can get access to more targeted ads, and advertising revenue would increase by being part of a multi-channel network, and that would offset any loss in revenue that you have from giving them a portion of your money. But that's not the case. The multi-channel networks don't give you any extra revenue overall. The amount of money that you would earn from your videos is exactly the same. So you've got to basically think about, if you're thinking about joining a multi-channel network, it's not a case of you get a certain portion of your money. It's more a case of, do I want to give this multi-channel network this amount of money for the services that they're offering me? You could get 100% of the revenue that you make from a YouTube video and all the advertising that goes on that by simply not joining a multi-channel network. You don't have to join one. It doesn't help in terms of search results or better videos or anything like that. If you're not getting the views when you're not part of a multi-channel network, you're not going to suddenly join a multi-channel network and get a lot of views. It's all just about the services that they can provide you. So what are those services? What are the main selling points of multi-channel networks? Well, the main one is that you get access to music. So you can get access to these libraries of music and then use those on your videos without getting a copyright strike or content ID. Obviously, it's probably well known at this point that content ID is a thing on YouTube where if you use copyrighted music, the music provider can claim your video and run advertisements on your video and make money from your video because you've used a bit of their music. Now, that's one of the main selling points to multi-channel networks, that you get access to a wide variety of music that you can use on your videos and you can still make money from those videos. In addition to that, there's also the aspect that they could help your channel. You may get support, direct support. They have sort of contacts with YouTube, for example, and you may be able to get support through them for various different things. Lots of little different things that you'll see as you sort of look at different multi-channel networks, but ultimately the main selling point really is just the music. And from what I can see, yes, you're maybe joining a community of people. You're maybe joining a community of people who are making videos like you or making different videos, and you might have that aspect of collaborating with those people who are in your network. But there's no way that you can't find that in different communities elsewhere without joining a network. So what you've basically got to be doing when you're thinking about joining a multi-channel network is, are the features that they're going to give me worth the amount of money that I'm going to lose out on in terms of revenue? Now, if you're a very, very small channel, that's probably not going to be a lot. Basically, if they take a certain portion of your revenue, even if they take 40-50% and you're only making $1 a month, you're not going to miss that. But what you've got to be careful about is contracts, because there are a lot of multi-channel networks out there who don't have a contract. You can just join and then leave whenever you want. And I would always recommend going with one of those if you want to go with a multi-channel network. But there are certain multi-channel networks out there who lock you into a contract. So what basically happens is that you may have 100 subscribers, and that's just enough to be accepted into a multi-channel network. You apply, they send you a contract, and the contract lasts for 2 years. It says that all of the money that you make in the next 2 years goes to them. They take 40% of your revenue, because that's quite a common thing. You know, a 60-40 revenue split is quite common with a lot of multi-channel networks, and some of the more unscrupulous ones as well, I would say. So that you might not miss that. You may make $1 a month for the next couple of months, and they take 40 cents every month, and you're pretty happy because you've got this support network. You're in a community with a multi-channel network. You get access to certain music that you can use, and everything is good. But what happens in, say, a year's time if you suddenly blow up, or you do what you want to do on YouTube and you grow? You just grow naturally. You may have, by the end of the 2 years, 100,000 subscribers. You may have 1 million subscribers if you've been particularly successful. You don't know what the future is going to hold, but throughout those whole 2 years, they're still taking 40% of everything that you own and that you earn. So although you didn't miss the 40 cents every month at the start of your contract, because you're locked into that contract, you may be earning $100 a month, $1,000 a month by the end of your contract. But because you're locked into it, you can't get out of it until the 2 years are over. They're taking $40, $400, and that adds up. It really does. So you've always got to be careful about this sort of stuff, and never just join a multi-channel network because you think it's the right thing to do. A lot of them try to make you believe that it's the next step on YouTube. It's something that everybody does. Joining a multi-channel network is a sign that you're succeeding on YouTube. A lot of them have barriers to entry, but they're not very much. 100 subscribers or 1,000 views a month or something like that, to make it look like you've got to be doing well, but really those numbers aren't all that high. And a lot of people can achieve that relatively easily. This is very different to a Twitch partnership, for example, where on Twitch you've got to stream for a long period of time. You've got to put in multiple applications. You've got to have a certain number of viewers on every stream before you get partnered with Twitch to be able to run advertisements and have subscribers on your Twitch channel and your streams. Multi-channel networks aren't affiliated with YouTube. YouTube are going to give you the money regardless. Multi-channel networks are just an intermediary who are basically offering a service for a portion of your revenue. And you've got to decide whether that portion of your revenue is going to be worth the service that you're getting. And of course, there are really successful YouTubers who don't have a multi-channel network. People like CGP Grey, Numberphile, the Broughy 2988, none of those have multi-channel networks, and they are very successful with millions of subscribers. Multi-channel networks can't make you a successful YouTube channel. They just may give you some services in exchange for a portion of your revenue that might help you become a bit more successful on your own, but there's nothing tangible that they can do to suddenly make you successful. So something to take into account is the amount of money that they're going to be taking off you. There are quite a lot of multi-channel networks out there who only take 10% of your revenue. And in the early stages where you're not making too much money, that's probably worthwhile. 10% for access to some music and things like that, as long as you're not locked into a contract with that, that's worthwhile. But anything more than that, 20%, 30%, 40% that a lot of these bigger multi-channel networks try to take from people, that's a lot. And honestly, I don't think it's worth it, regardless of whatever size channel you are, especially when you consider that you could be getting 100% of your revenue if you wanted. And although you might look at some really big and popular YouTubers and see that they are affiliated to a network, do you really think that they're giving 40% of their revenue to that network? Do you really think the big YouTubers who make millions of dollars every year are going to give 40% of all of that to a network in exchange for some music? No, they're not. They will be on specialized deals, specialized contracts that give them 99.99% of their revenue, and the multi-channel network may only make a couple of $100 off them every month, but they're not going to be with a network that is taking 30, 40, 50% of their revenue. It's just not going to happen. So although you may see that bigger YouTubers are with networks, they're not going to be with the same network that you or I could go on. And what I mean by that is they may be under the same umbrella and under the same name network, but they're on completely different deals, completely different contracts, and able to make a lot more from their deals than what the average person can. So in terms of explaining what they do, there's not really a lot there. They take some of your revenue and give you some services in return. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's just a bit better support or being part of a community, but they're all slightly different and they all have slightly different ways of going about it. Some are contract, some are not contract. There's not that much to them. Basically, they're just an intermediary between YouTube and yourself, and they take some money off you in the interim. So I want to just give my recommendation, and I'll also give a personal story from my perspective and my experience with multi-channel networks as well, to hopefully better inform anybody who is thinking about joining one or wants to join one or has already joined one and wants to be out of one or is unsure what to do. My recommendation is that in the vast majority of cases, you do not need to join a multi-channel network. And if you're a small channel, definitely don't join one. If you think that you might use the features that they're offering you, fair enough, but don't get locked into a long contract because you could regret it. And it's not seen as anything special anymore to be part of a network. Anybody can join a multi-channel network, and all they're doing is taking your money off you in exchange for some features. If you wouldn't pay them that amount of money for the features that they're offering you, then it's not worth it, and that's how you have to think about it. And in the vast majority of cases, you don't need to join one. You shouldn't join one. You shouldn't be part of one. Just do your own thing, get 100% of your revenue until you get to a point where you think, okay, I could do with some music, or I could do with whatever these multi-channel networks are offering. Obviously, be careful about what you're looking at. Don't let them lie to you or anything like that. But, I could do with that. Let's try and strike a deal. Don't just accept the default of what they're going to offer you. If they're going to take 40% of your revenue, don't even think about it. Just don't even go with that network. There's plenty of networks out there these days, and all they want to do is get as many small YouTubers as possible signed up to them, so that the amount of money they make adds up without actually giving anything in return. If you've got 40 cents, for example, if you're making $1 every month and there's, hundreds of thousands of YouTubers who might get enough views to make $1 a month. If they're all with a network and that network is taking 40 cents of everybody, it might not matter that much to each individual, but that does add up. And that's how these big networks make their money, because they've got so many people under their wing that they're able to take a significant portion of money off. So in the vast majority of cases, it's just not needed. Now, my personal experience with a multi-channel network is one of positives and negatives, really. Back when I started doing YouTube and started to get a decent amount of views, I assumed that joining a multi-channel network was the next step. So I joined one. It was RPM back then. It was part of the Maker brand. And they took 40% of my revenue. I was locked in for 1 year. So I was on a 1-year contract where they took 40% of everything that I earned. Now, back then, that wasn't too much. It wasn't an awful lot. Same old story, that I would start to grow throughout the course of that year, and they would take more and more in real terms, but it was still always that 40%. But I never really thought about it. And then when the year was up, I came across a different network, which was Curse, with Union for Gamers, which just, they said that they would give me a 90-10 revenue split. And I would, if you're going to go with a network and you actually do want a network, Union for Gamers is a decent one, because they have a 90-10 revenue split, which is one of the best out of all the multi-channel networks. You get to keep 90% of all the money that you make, and there's no contract, so you can leave whenever you want to. So I joined Curse. I did that for 2 years. I was with those until very, very recently. They took 10% of all my earnings. Now, that was a lot better than the 40% that RPM would have been taking. But in the early stages, 10% wasn't that much. Still just a small YouTuber. And I don't consider myself a big YouTuber now, but I still earn a lot more from YouTube now than what I used to do back then. 10% is still 10%. And just a couple of weeks ago, I came to the realization that, my God, over the last year, 2 years, how much money have I lost out on that I've given to Curse every month, just without thinking about it. I was part of a network, I just forgot about it and just assumed that was a thing. And when I realized that they're not giving me any benefits in terms of revenue, they're not increasing the overall revenue that I make by putting better ads on my videos or anything like that. That's not possible for any multi-channel network to do. And I guess I just sat back and thought, the money that I've given Curse over the last 2 years, which was, when you add it all up, a substantial amount of money, has that been worth the features that I've got in return? And the answer was just flat out no. It really wasn't. I've used a bit of music every now and then, but apart from that, and got a bit of support, but apart from that, would I have given them the amount of money that I lost out on, out of my pocket, out of my hand? If I had the money in front of me, would I have said, okay, here's all this money for the amount of features on the amount of use that I got from Curse throughout the course of those 2 years? And I never would have done. So I immediately chose to leave and just, thought, why am I even with a network? And then I've obviously looked into it a lot more, researched it, found that bigger YouTubers don't even have networks, like I mentioned, and realized it's perfectly viable to not be with a network. And as I sit here right now, I'm not part of a YouTube network. And to be honest, I don't intend to join a multi-channel network in the near future, unless I get a ridiculously good deal and good offerings from somebody. I'd rather just continue focusing on doing my own thing and actually using all of the money that I earn from YouTube to help me live. And that becomes a major point in a transition of this, that it might be okay to give a certain portion of your revenue when you're living at home. You don't rely on that money to live or buy food or anything like that. But as soon as you realize that that's something that you may have to do, or you're starting to do, and you realize that 10% of your revenue or 20% or 30% or whatever could go a long way. It could buy you extra furniture for a house. It could buy you food a couple of nights. It could help pay towards rent. You start to think, yeah, I would rather have that money to help me live than give it to some network that isn't doing anything for me. So I wouldn't necessarily say anything bad about networks. There are bad networks out there who will try to just get as many people into them as possible to try and make as much money as possible without giving really anything back. But there are some networks now, like Curse, like Union for Gamers, for example, that do actually help if you take advantage of what they can offer you. But you always need to be careful of how much money you're essentially spending on a network. It may be okay initially, it may be a small amount, but that can add up if you start to get successful and the money starts to increase, and it really does add up if you leave it unchecked and not realize that every single month you're just giving this money away for not really a lot in return. So that's pretty much it about multi-channel networks. That's how they work. That's my recommendation about it. I hope this has been helpful. I had it in mind what I wanted to talk about in this video, and it's been obviously brought on by the fact that I've recently left a multi-channel network and don't intend to join one again. And I kind of wanted to get some information out there to help people understand who are smaller YouTubers or even bigger YouTubers who are still locked into a network or, don't think about it or don't realize it. You don't need to be with one. And hopefully, even if it just helps one person in that respect, then this will have been a worthwhile video. But hopefully to those of you who aren't even on YouTube or don't intend to be, this has been informative in that respect to learn a little bit more about YouTube and the inner workings of it and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I do intend to, as I said at the start of the video, bring back this series in a more regular format. Let me know if that's something that you're excited to see or you'd rather I didn't bother. Let me know all your thoughts about the video topic as well in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate all the support as always, and I'll see you next time.